Hello, lovely listeners. I'm Julia, who will help you relax and fall asleep tonight. What time is it for you right now? And are you listening from your bed or somewhere else? Write it in the comments. In a forgotten corner of a deep enchanted forest, where the trees whispered ancient secrets and the winds carry the echoes of old magic, there lived a humble family in a small yet inviting cottage. The family was made up of a gentle mother, a wise father, a daughter named Elinor, and 7 spirited brothers whose laughter could brighten the darkest glens. Though their home was modest, it overflowed with love, kindness, and a touch of otherworldly wonder. One bright spring morning, as golden sunlight danced with the dew on the meadow leaves, the family gathered around the well-worn wooden table for breakfast. The air was filled with a quiet cheer, and the aroma of warm bread mingled with the soft murmur of the forest outside. The 7 brothers raced to finish their porridge, eager for a day of adventure in the wild, while Elinor sat quietly, tracing patterns on her well-thumbed notebook, lost in her own dreams of far-off lands. As the day unfolded, the brothers set out into the forest, their laughter and playful shouts echoing among the trees. Unbeknownst to them and to Elinor, a mysterious presence stirred in the shadows. Deep in the heart of the forest lay an old enchantment, long guarded by sorrow and loss. A curse woven by a scorned sorcerer had awaited an opportunity to seep into the lives of those with hearts as pure as the family's. And on that fateful day, through some trickery of fate, the curse found its way. When dusk began to burn the horizon with crimson and gold, Elinor noticed the absence of her brothers. Anxiety crept upon her like a cold wind in the silence. "Father, Mother, where are my brothers?" she asked with a quavering voice that belied her inner strength. Her parents exchanged glances laden with unspoken dread. The father's eyes, usually full of gentle mirth, were clouded with worry. "They ventured too deep into the forest this morning, my child," he explained softly. "We must be patient. They are brave young men and well-versed in the ways of this enchanted wood." But as the night deepened and the stars began their watch from above, Elinor's heart pounded with an unyielding certainty. Something was amiss. The silence of the forest was not one of peaceful calm, but of secrets held too tightly. Determined to seek the truth, she wrapped herself in a shawl and set out into the darkness, her small lantern flickering as she ventured down the winding path into the unknown. The forest at night was transformed. Shadows danced like playful spirits around ancient oaks, and the sound of distant water seemed to murmur warnings. Elinor's resolve wavered only briefly as she pressed onward, guided by love and the lingering hope that her brothers might still be within reach. As she trod along a forgotten trail, she came across a clearing where a shimmering pool lay encircled by wildflowers. The pool's surface was disturbingly still, as if guarding a secret. Bent over its edge, she noticed something odd, a reflection of gleaming eyes soaring away into the night sky, accompanied by the flutter of great wings. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized that in the reflection she saw not the familiar faces of her brothers, but those of majestic ebony feathers gliding silently above. With trembling hands, Elinor traced her fingers along the rim of the pool, her mind racing with memories of tales spun by her mother, stories of cursed transformations and enchanted creatures. She recalled the old story of the 7 ravens, a fable of cursed siblings who, having strayed too far from home, were transformed by a malevolent spell. The realization struck her with the weight of destiny. her beloved brothers had been transformed into ravens. Determined to break the curse, Elinor resolved that at first light she would begin her perilous quest. As dawn unfurled its rosy light across the land, she prepared for the journey. Packing a small sack with bread, cheese, and a flask of water, she hugged her tearful parents goodbye. Her father's soft voice followed her as she left the cottage. "Courage, dear heart. The forest yields riddles, but you possess the strength of love. Remember, our bond transcends any magic, no matter how dark." Her mother pressed a small ancient pendant into her palm, a silver talisman etched with mysterious runes. "May this guide your steps when hope seems lost," she whispered, her eyes brimming with sorrow and resolve. For days, Elinor traversed the sprawling forest, where every tree, every rock, every whisper of wind seemed imbued with magic, some welcoming, some foreboding. Along winding paths and through dense thickets, she encountered enchanted beings who recognized the purity of her spirit. A wise old owl named Aurelia offered guidance from a lofty branch, her luminous eyes reflecting centuries of knowledge. "Seek the grove of echoes, where voices of the past may hold the key to undoing dark spells," the owl advised in a deep, resonant tone. Grateful, Elinor thanked Aurelia and set her course by the starry map etched in memory by this counsel. In her wanderings, fate led her to a babbling brook where a kindly water nymph, shimmering like liquid silver, greeted her with a melodious smile. "Child of the heart, what brings you to my stream on this twilight journey?" asked the nymph, her voice as clear as the water flowing. With a tremor in her voice but a determination in her eyes, Elinor recounted her tale. The nymph listened intently, nodding sympathetically. "Your brothers are yours by the thread of fate, yet the curse is cunning," warned the nymph. "Beyond the brook lies the grove of echoes. There, amidst ancient stones, you will hear voices woven in the mists of time, voices that reveal the hidden path to break the curse. But beware, dear traveler, for the journey is as treacherous as it is wondrous. Trust not every whisper in the wind, for some hearts hide riddles more dangerous than they seem." Thanking the nymph, Elinor continued along the brook, each step bringing her closer to the grove and the unknown challenges ahead. The forest around her was an ever-changing mosaic of light and shadow, where the laughter of unseen creatures mingled with the rustling leaves. At last, after what seemed like days rendered in twilight and silver moonbeams, she arrived at the Grove of Echoes. The clearing was both eerie and beautiful. Moss-covered stones formed ancient circles, and in the midst of it all stood a towering oak, its branches draped with luminescent vines. The silent majesty of the grove seemed to promise secrets, and so, with a heart pounding in anticipation, Elinor stepped forward. Beneath the ancient oak, the air shimmered with a soft, musical tone, and ghostly voices began to murmur among the stones. "Who seeks the knowledge of yesteryears?" boomed a voice deep and sonorous, as though the earth itself were speaking. "I am Elinor, daughter of a kind family, seeker of my brothers, ransomed from enchantment and sorrow," she replied boldly. The voices swirled around her, harmonious and mysterious, each syllable carrying hints of forgotten lore. Slowly, fragments of ancient riddles drifted into her consciousness, each a piece of the puzzle that could break the curse. One such fragment spoke of a hidden glen where the curse's source lay, a dark mirror in a cave beneath the roots of an ancient hill. Though the riddle was cryptic, Elinor understood that her journey was not merely to find her brothers, but to confront the very magic that had robbed them of their human form. With newfound determination, Elinor set her sights on the next leg of her journey. The path was fraught with obstacles, dense underbrush, chilly rain, and eerie sounds in the darkness, yet her resolve never wavered. Each night, as she camped under the open sky, memories of her brothers and the gentle smiles they once shared gushed forth like a warm embrace, nurturing her spirit. One misty morning, as dawn's faint blush touched the horizon, Elinor arrived at the base of a craggy hill shrouded in mystery. The hill, known in whispered legends as Elderspire, seemed to hold the key to that cursed cave mentioned in the grove. As she climbed the rocky path, a sudden rustling in the thicket halted her steps. There, emerging from between the tangled ferns, was a figure draped in a cloak of emerald leaves, a forest wanderer whose eyes sparkled like dew at sunrise. "Are you not afraid to climb these perilous slopes alone?" the stranger inquired kindly, his voice rich with the quiet certainty of one who knows nature's secrets. Startled yet relieved to find another soul on such a lonely path, Elinor answered, "I must climb Elderspire to find the cave beneath. My brothers have been ensnared by a cruel enchantment, turned into ravens, and I must free them." The wanderer regarded her with a mix of admiration and caution. "Many have attempted such quests, but few understand the true meaning of sacrifice and love. I am called Thalen, a keeper of the ancient lore, and you have my guidance should you need it." For a while they walked together in companionable silence, sharing stories of long-lost magic and the timeless bonds of family. At the summit of Elderspire, a cavernous opening yawned before them, its depths swallowed by darkness. Thalen offered a small crystal lantern that glowed with a soft, ethereal light. "This lantern is imbued with the essence of ancient fire. It will reveal what is hidden in darkness, but also test the heart of the one who bears it." Elinor accepted it with gratitude, and with a final nod to Thalen, she ventured into the cave alone. The walls shimmered with dampness and moss, and the air was heavy with the scent of earth and magic. Deeper and deeper she traveled until she came upon a grand chamber, filled with a mirror-like pool of water, at the center of which floated a dark obsidian mirror. Its surface rippled as if alive, and a chill seemed to emanate from its depths. A voice emerged from the mirror, soft and bitter. "Why do you seek what you cannot reclaim?" Elinor's heart hammered, but she steadied herself and retorted, "I seek my brothers, transformed against their will, and I will shatter your dark spell with the strength of my love and determination." The mirror's surface twisted into visions, images of her brothers soaring on ebony wings against a starless sky, tortured by the relentless grip of the curse. She saw flashes of moments shared, a heroic childhood adventure, warm laughter by the hearth, and the compassion they all carried deep within. In that vision, she recognized not beasts, but her beloved kin yearning to be freed. Determined, Elinor recalled the words from the grove. The cure lay not in bitter confrontation, but in embracing the power of familial love. With her hand trembling, she pressed the crystal lantern against the mirror's surface. The light burst forth in radiant streams that mingled with the murky shadows, illuminating every corner of the cavern. The mirror's dark voice screeched in protest as the cursed magic flailed against the purity of her resolve. For what seemed like an eternity, the cavern was filled with a swirling dance of light and shadow, a battle not of fury, but of gentle, enduring hope. In a final act of defiance, the mirror shattered into countless glittering shards. In that instant, a soft, melodic chirp echoed along the cavern walls. One by one, the obsidian shards coalesced into delicate ebony feathers that scattered gently to the ground. Elinor felt a warmth envelop her heart as a sudden surge of magic filled the air, a magic that seemed to renew every stone, every breath, every soul within. Outside the cave, atop Elder Spire, Thalen looked up at the unfolding sunrise and murmured, "The curse has been challenged, but the true test still lies ahead." Elinor left the cave with a sense of both celebration and trepidation. The crystal lantern now pulsed with a steady, kind glow, serving as a reminder of the love that had weakened the curse. She hurried back to the forest, with the images of her brothers guiding her steps. The flight back was filled with an almost sacred stillness, as the forest acknowledged the turning of fate. Days later, as the wind danced playfully through the canopy and shafts of sunlight painted the forest in hues of gold and green, Elinor discovered a familiar fluttering above the ancient pool where her journey had begun. The ebony feathers had returned to life as fine creatures gliding above the rippling water. Their eyes, reflecting sorrow and hope alike, searched the horizon. For a moment, time stood still as Elinor recognized the unspoken plea in their gaze, a call for salvation that transcended all mortal bounds. With tears glistening in her eyes, she knelt beside the pool and spoke softly. "My dear brothers, I have come to restore what was lost. Accept my love as the key that unlocks your confined souls." At the utterance of those tender words, the ravens circled overhead in a grand, synchronized ballet, their flight painting graceful arcs against the dawn-lit sky. As one, they descended toward Elinor, landing by her side with a quiet dignity that belied the suffering they had endured. In that moment, the forest itself seemed to hold its breath, as if celebrating the reunion of a family torn asunder by malevolent magic and reunited by the unbreakable bonds of love. One by one, the ravens began to glow with a soft inner radiance, a glow that spread slowly over their feathery forms. Their eyes, once reflective pools of sorrow, sparkled with recognition and joy. "Elinor, our brave sister," one of them murmured in a voice like distant bells, "your unwavering love has penetrated the darkest of enchantments. We are free to be ourselves once more." The transformation was both sudden and miraculous. Feathers shimmered and shifted as if melting away, and in a cascade of light, each raven transformed back into the spirited young man they had once been. The brothers fell into Elinor's arms, each touch filled with gratitude and tenderness, the quiet tears of reunion mingling with soft laughter that resonated with the heartbeat of the forest. That evening, the family returned to their beloved cottage, where a gentle warmth filled every room as they sat together and recounted the long, arduous journey. "We thought the curse would bind us forever to this form," one brother confessed softly, while the others nodded in silent agreement. "But love, dear sister," another added, "your love was the beacon that led us home." There was quiet laughter and tender embraces as memories of the night of liberation mingled with the hope of new beginnings. The parents, enveloped in pride and relief, watched their children with hearts overflowing with gratitude. Their once quiet home now buzzed with the energy of renewed life and love, a song of resilience passed down through generations. In the days that followed, the magic of that mystical night spread through the forest like a gentle blessing. Birds sang sweeter, trees swayed with a dance of joy, and even the ancient stones in the clearing of the Grove of Echoes hummed with the resonance of reclaimed hope. Villagers who passed by the enchanted forest spoke in hushed, reverent tones about the brave girl who had defied not only curses, but also fate itself for the love of her brothers. Her story became a treasured tale, a reminder that the ties of family and the power of a pure, unyielding heart can heal even the deepest wounds of magic and sorrow. Yet, as with every tale of wonder and enchantment, there remained whispers of another challenge, a lingering shadow from the sorcerer who had cast the initial curse. Though his name had been forgotten with time, the dark magic he wielded had left scars upon the fabric of the forest. On a quiet autumn twilight, as leaves painted in red and amber rustled softly along the forest floor, a solitary figure cloaked in shadow watched from afar. Eyes like embers burned with quiet malice. Her love was a spark indeed, he murmured under his breath. But many flames must be kindled before the forest can ever truly be free of my mark. And though his words were lost in the wind, a subtle tension crept along the ancient trails, a reminder that magic, in all its splendor and menace, is never truly at rest. Undeterred by these murmurs of further misfortune, Elinor continued to live with the same quiet bravery that had led her on her quest. She spent years tending to the forest and her family with equal care, gathering knowledge of ancient spells and forgotten lore. Elders and wise women visited the cottage, eager to learn the gentle art of healing, and the light of hope that emanated from within its walls reached far beyond the forest's edge. In time, her journey became a beacon for those whose lives had been touched by sorrow and enchantment alike. One crisp winter's day, as snow blanketed the world in mute silver serenity, a group of travelers arrived at the cottage seeking shelter. Among them was a young girl, eyes wide with the quiet wonder of someone who had yet to learn that life is full of both miracles and heartaches. Elinor, now mature and serene, welcomed her kindly. "Sit by the fire, child," she said in a tender, melodic tone, "and I will tell you a story of how love can conquer even the most insidious of curses." And so, as the fire danced with shadows upon the walls, the girl listened raptly to the story of a brave sister, 7 enchanted brothers, and a journey that wove together the threads of love, sacrifice, and redemption. The words of that tale traveled far and wide, carried by the wind and etched in the hearts of everyone who heard them. They served as both a lullaby and a gentle reminder. Sometimes, the most formidable magic is that which resides within the heart. As seasons turn to years and years to gentle memories, the legacy of Elinor's quest blossomed into legend, a tale passed down through generations by those who believed in the power of unconditional love. In time, the forest itself became a living testament to that fabled night of transformation. In the heart of the ancient woods, where the rivers sang to the skies and every leaf whispered secrets of old, there grew a magnificent grove of silver birch. It was said that those birch trees were planted by the grateful spirits of the forest, the ones who bore witness to the courageous deed that dispelled a long-forgotten curse. Travelers who wandered through the grove often felt a soothing presence enveloping them, a reminder of the resilient spirit that can spark hope even in the deepest despair. Years later, when Elinor's hair had turned silver like the moonlight upon the snow, and her eyes held the gentle calm of knowing souls, she sat with her family in that beautiful grove beneath a sky dappled with stars. The 7 brothers, once ravens and now vibrant men, recounted their own recollections of the time spent in captivity not in bitter tones, but in reflective whispers that honored the slow, redemptive magic of love. I remember being lost in an endless night, one brother mused quietly, when the only sound was the beating of my wings and the echo of your voice calling to me, sister. It was that voice that rekindled my hope. Another brother added, your love was the light that pierced through the dark, a transforming flame that revealed the human soul beneath the curse. Elinor listened to these words with quiet satisfaction, knowing that the lessons of compassion and perseverance had not been in vain. In every smile, every tear, every shared moment of humility, the tapestry of their lives told a story of triumph over the capricious whims of dark magic. Their journey was one of endless wonder, a delicate dance between sorrow and joy, despair and hope, shadow and light. It was a story that resonated in every heartfelt conversation, in every gentle lullaby sung under starlit skies, and in every whispered prayer for love's continuation. As an age passed, and the memory of the cursed ravens faded into the gentle murmur of legends, the forest matured into a realm of perpetual harmony. Trees, unburdened by dark enchantments, stretched skyward in infinite celebration, and birds soared with jubilant freedom, their songs echoing the timeless truth that even the gravest curses can be undone by the unyielding power of love. And still, in the quiet recesses of that magical land, Elinor's story was told, not as a tale of past horrors, but as a living testament to the courage that dwells within every heart. On one serene evening, as dusk painted the sky in hues of lavender and rose, a soft voice recounted the tale one last time. An old storyteller, with eyes twinkling like the first stars of night, spoke to a gathered circle of young dreamers. Remember, dear ones, that the journey of love is not measured by the footfalls on a path or the battles fought against enchantment. It is measured by the strength within our beating hearts. A love that perseveres even against the darkest sorcery is the truest magic of all. The children listened with wide eyes and quiet wonder, absorbing each word that promised that within each of them lay the seed of eternal hope. And so it was that the legacy of that enchanted family, of a brave sister who defied the despair of dark magic, and of 7 brothers redeemed by her unwavering spirit, lived on. The walls of the cottage, the heart of the forest, and the countless souls touched by the gentle magic of that unforgettable night bore silent testimony to the truth that love, in all its deep, resonant wonder, can transform even the most cursed of experiences into something sublime. In the gentle twilight of her final days, as Elinor sat by the window of her cottage, watching the last rays of sun dissolve into night, she whispered a quiet truth to the world. May our hearts always be as brave as the wildest winds, and our love remain as steadfast as the ancient trees. And the forest, in its timeless wisdom, responded with a soft rustle of leaves, as if affirming that every heart that holds love is a beacon of light capable of dispelling any darkness. As the night deepened and the stars shimmered like scattered jewels across the velvet sky, a serene peace settled over the land, a peace mingled with the soft laughter of memories and the gentle murmur of hope reborn. In that delicate silence, where every story of old merged with the promise of new beginnings, the soul of the forest carried forth the timeless message etched into every leaf and every gentle breeze. Sweet dreams, good night.